Good morning to one and all. As beautifully quoted by Seymour Papert, you cannot teach people everything they need to know. The best you can do is where position them where they can find what they need to know, when they need to know it. Indeed, this is the role of a teacher, a guru in the life of every student. Hence, teachers are considered as the architects of the future. A teacher, a guru can be anyone. It could be our parents, teachers, neighbors, friends, and anyone else who has shared their experiences, taught us, and had a positive impact on our lives. On behalf of Shishuvan, I, Sunil Dammewa, the head of secondary department, would like to extend a warm welcome to all the respected members of the management committee of Sri Hirji Bhojraj and Sons CVO Jain Chhatralaya, principal of Sishuvan, Ms. Prachi Ranadive, my dear teachers and friends. I would also like to extend a very special welcome to our eminent guest, Dr. Gnanvatsal Swamiji, on the occasion of Guru Purnima Celebration at Shishuvan. Indeed, Indeed, it is a moment of great pride and extreme honor to have you with us. By his profound knowledge and insight on a wide spectrum of subjects, Swami Gyanvatsal Daji has participated in various conferences and inspired millions of people across the globe. He has been one of the most popular motivational speakers from BAPS, creating an everlasting positive impact in people's lives, transforming their intellectual quotient, emotional quotient, and spiritual quotient. He served as an interpreter with early BAPS spiritual head H. Pramukh Swamiji Maharaj. In many of his religious world tours, Swamiji has been instrumental in carrying out many youth development and social cultural projects of BAPS at Vadodara, Gujarat. Swamiji is a life coach, an eminent speaker, and has given many speeches in English, Hindi, and Gujarati. Swamiji has interacted with more than 25,000 families across 30 countries of different ethnic groups. He has also delivered more than 15,000 talks and speeches across the world, has met and interacted with more than 3 million people and 5,000 leaders from various social and professional backgrounds. Swamiji, now I hand over the session to you and request you to take it forward.
श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान की जय, अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराज की जय, राधा कृष्ण देव की जय, सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज की जय, महंत स्वामी महाराज की जय, प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज शताब्दी महोत्सव की जय. With prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagavan Swaminarayan and my Guru Hari Param Puja Pramukh Swami Maharaj and my Pragat Guru Hari Param Puja Mahan Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar, good morning, and Jai Swaminarayan to my very dear friend Shri Devendra Baisha and the entire Shishuvan family who have all come together on a fine Saturday morning, Guru Purnima morning, to care and share for each other when it comes to the academic circles, academic fraternity. Devendra Bhai had long been asking me to get associated through a talk with the Shishuvan family. And today is a wonderful occasion that we have all come together. Well, the topic shared with me today for today's talk, teachers are the architects of the future. And you all are, really, in the true sense of the word. Because teachers, you gift the nation, the next generation, who can shoulder the responsibilities of the society and the country, who can take forward the country to a different level in the sense that when it comes to development, growth. So if we want to make India a developed country, a superpower, and as our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Bhai Modi says, a $5 trillion economy by 2025, the onus of that lies on the shoulders of you teachers. And on many occasions, I've had the privilege, I consider it my fortune, to be associated with the teachers, professors, and the academicians. And I always seen a sense of sincerity, a sense of responsibility, a sense of concern for the future when they teach the students, when they groom their students. And so I always say that teachers, they play a very pivotal role in shaping the future of the country. So on the day of Guru Purnima, definitely my pranams to all you gurus, teachers, that you are doing a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful service to the society. So teachers are the architects of the future. Bhagwan Swaminarayan has also written in the Siksha Patri that Vidya Dan is Mahadan. The biggest gift that you can give to the society, the biggest donation that you can ever give to the society is imparting knowledge to children, to teenagers, to youths, and thus preparing the next generations. On the other side, the students must be equally thirsty for knowledge. If the zeal of the teacher and the zeal of the student, they combine, it can be a wonderful combination. But the zeal of the students has to be more created by students, by the teachers. Again, the responsibility of the teachers. So the responsibility of the teachers is not just teaching. And you all know this well. It is not that something new that I'm talking to you. But to create that thirst, to create that zeal in the hearts and minds of your children, of your students, is also an added responsibility of the teacher. Because teachers have amazing powers. And I'm talking to you at this moment, believe me, that a whole video script is going through my mind. I'm getting reminded of my teachers. And internally, I'm paying a tribute to them that whatever I am today, in whatever my capacity, is because of the great, wonderful teachers that I've had during my school days, during my college days. And today I take this occasion of Guru Purnima to bow down to them as well. As I said, teachers have amazing power. You might well know that a coal is nothing but carbon atoms. When those carbon atoms are haphazardly come together, when they haphazardly come together, it becomes coal, जिसको हम कोयला बोलते हैं. If the same carbon atoms, if they come together in a hexagonal structure, those teachers who are teaching benzene ring in chemistry in the high school must know this better, that the hexagonal structure, if the carbon atoms come together in a hexagonal structure, it becomes graphite, that is lead. The chemical name of it is Pb, and it is used in pencils. So the value improves from coal to graphite. If the same carbon atoms, they come together in a tetrahedral structure, the final product is a diamond. That is of a different value. So coal, graphite, and diamond, all three are atom-wise the same. All three's internal makeup is the same. They're all made up of carbon. A coal, graphite, or diamond. But when those carbon atoms are haphazard, it is coal. When they're hexagonal, it is graphite. When they're tetrahedral, it is diamond. I want to put forward a wonderful point that though the internal structure of us is the same, we are all common human beings upon this earth. But when the internal structure is well arranged, or you teachers make it well arranged in the hearts and minds of your children, you teachers have the power to transform them from coal and graphite to diamonds. That internal arrangement is their thought process. That internal arrangement is their emotional expression. That internal arrangement is the way they walk, talk. All this beyond the subjects that you teach as teachers. If you well take care of them, you can transform your children, your students, from coal and graphite to diamond. And even a small diamond of this size has the power to purchase a whole truckload of coals. Even a small diamond of this size has the capacity to purchase the whole truckload of coal. Devendra Bhai, am I right? What I mean to say is teachers have power and they can wonderfully work it out. From Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam to Dr. Vikram Sarabhai to Sachin Tendulkar to the former president of US Barack Obama, all have expressed time and again and laid the success story of their lives at the feet of their teachers. They all have said that we were fortunate to have wonderful teachers in our life, and that is why we are what we are today. So my first point in teachers, the architects of the future, is that teachers have amazing powers. You people as teachers are definitely quite aware of it, making the best use of it, but still more and more potential can be brought out. So the first thing is teachers have amazing powers. They can transform coal and graphite into diamond by just changing the internal arrangement of the student in the heart and the mind of students. And they can create wonders. Second important aspect is that along with teaching, normally I say, if you have a 45-minute period, I don't know the session time of your school, but for example, it is a 45-minute period. It should not be 45, it should be 40 plus 5. Then you become the architects of the future. Again, I repeat, it should not be 45, it should be 40 plus 5. Now, what I mean by that, I'll explain. You go inside the class as a teacher to teach your subject to the students. For 45 minutes of the period, you just don't keep on teaching your subject. You make it 40 plus 5, 40 minutes your subject teaching, and 5 minutes at the end of your period, you give them wonderful inspirational messages, motivational stories to energize them. So I'm giving a new planning to your school without taking prior permission from Devendra Bhai. So as a good friend, I have that freedom. So not 45 plus 0, it should be 40 plus 5. Last 5 minutes of your period in the school, in your class. Go beyond your subjects. Now, this is the word you need to pick up. Go beyond your subject. If you're teaching mathematics, English, physics, chemistry, biology, whatever, social sciences, whatever. 5 minutes for that, you need to go for extracurricular reading beyond your subjects. Teachers must come prepared because after 5 years of teaching your subject, as teacher, you are wonderfully placed. You just walk in inside your class, pick up a chalk and start writing on the board and start teaching the students because you have mastered your subject after 5-7 years of teaching. But you need to keep upgrading yourself. Upgrade your version. I'm reminded of a great teacher of Gujarat. His name was Manubhai Pancholi when we talk of this subject. He was popularly known as Darshak, Manubhai Pancholi. He has written some wonderful books, but even at the older age of 60, 65 plus, 70 plus, he used to do 4 hours of extracurricular reading every day. When he was asked, once his friend walked up to his house just for a casual sitting at about 10:30 at night on a summer day, on a Saturday night, He found Manubhai Pancholi deeply engrossed inside his books, history books. He was reading European history. His friend, out of all surprise, out of all, sir, at this hour of the night, at 10:30 p.m., you are in the midst of 5, 7 books kept open on your reading table and under the lamp. Sir, I think you can teach European history to your students without referring any book. At that time, Manubhai Pancholi said, my friend, I can teach European history for 10 years, taking one period every day without referring a single book or carrying a piece of paper, a chit in my hand. One period every day for 10 years, I can teach European history to my students. Then his friend asked him, why are you laboring so much at 10:30 p.m. at night? Manubhai Pancholi said in his traditional Gujarati, I first tell what Manubhai Pancholi said in Gujarati, so we know the inner emotions of him. He said, શિક્ષકે તો હંમેશા તેજસ્વી રહેવું જોઈએ. That he said the teachers must always remain not just active and agile, but along with being active and agile, they should continuously be sharpening their knowledge with all this kind of extracurricular readings. Only then you'll be able to give your students something better, something good. Imagine 5 minutes of inspirational stories or talks. You can talk of Sachin Tendulkar, you can talk of Virat Kohli, you can talk of such achievers. Recently, the Olympics team of India is left for Tokyo. A couple of incidents are really heart-touching, where a single mom, one of the athletes in the current present Olympic team that has left for Tokyo, one of the athletes, his mom was a single mom, and she would carry out petty jobs, petty works in the village and raised her son. And now he's qualified to play the Olympics. What a story of inspiration. So as teachers, you can share these stories with your children. Imagine a student gets 6 to 7. I think you have 6 to 7 periods in a day for the children. Imagine a student getting 6 to 7 inspirational stories a day. By year end, he gets good 1,000 stories. I say he just remembers 10. Just not even 1%, 0.01% of what you said. That means he remembers 10 good stories out of 1,000 told to him for in the entire year. That is enough for him, lifetime. So my second point in teachers being the architects of the future is that you must be carrying out your not just a 45-minute period, but it should be 40 plus 5. And when you say it is 40 plus 5, it is like you are creating the next generation. You are inspiring and motivating the children. Give them big vision. Show them a big door. Create a big field for them. Tell them there is a mountain, but you can scale. Tell them there is a river, but you can swim. Constant inspiration, because an educationist some day back has made a definition of education. He has said, now listen very carefully, his definition of education. Well-known educationist James Garfield, he says about education, education is that which remains with you when you have forgotten everything that has been taught to you. Education is that which remains with you when you have forgotten everything that has been taught to you. That means beyond your textbooks, the skills of the students that you have developed, beyond your textbooks, the knowledge acquiring capacity of the students that you have developed. Beyond your textbooks, the wisdom of life that you have developed in your children. Beyond your textbooks, the capacity of the children to face the situations and circumstances of life that you have developed. Beyond your textbooks, the intelligence of the students to grasp a conversation, to participate in a meeting, to analyze a problem, to dissect a situation, present a proper solution. That intelligence that you have developed, which is beyond the textbooks, that remains with him when he has forgotten everything that has been taught to him, like statistics, like the year in which Akbar was born, the year in which there was a battle between Akbar and Rana Pratap, the year in which the Britishers invaded the Maratha Empire, this, that, all these things, none of us remember at this moment, the dates and the years and who was the commander in chief at that time. But the value of bravery, the value of wisdom from these stories. So don't just teach them textbooks. Teach them the essence of these textbooks. The essence is qualities. The essence is values. The essence is virtues of life. Teach them this from the text. Textbooks are meant to teach values, virtues, and skills, talents, and intelligence. Intelligent quotient, emotional quotient, and spiritual quotient to your children. What these stories will teach? Emotional quotient, that means he being rational, he can think well, he can present well, he can put the right words at the right time. That is all intelligence. Beyond that, emotional intelligence, teach them. None of the teachers are teaching emotional intelligence to children. Emotional intelligence is you understand your feelings, you understand the feelings of the other person. And then taking the whole picture into consideration, you narrate or you discuss and you come to a decision. That is called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is caring for a person more. That is talking to person by the heart and not just by the mind. Beyond that is spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence means is you create a situation in your life that is an inspiration and motivation for generations to come. It is beyond intelligence. The qualities that are included in spiritual quotient is flexibility in life. Teach your students this, that you have to be flexible in life. Harvard University has put forward the definition of flexibility. The definition of intelligence. And that is flexibility to change is intelligence. What makes a person intelligent? If he's flexible to adjust himself with people and surroundings as quick as possible. That is called intelligence. Spiritual quotient includes flexibility, self-awareness, and ability to face and use suffering of life, and ability to be inspired by vision, and ability to cause as little harm as possible, an ability to see connection between diverse things, an ability to ask and probe fundamental questions of life, and eighth, an ability to work against the convention. These are the qualities to be taught to children. So not just work upon IQ, because most of the schools, you have IQ tests. You must have EQ test. You must have SQ test also. Teach them those values. That is the need of the hour. So my second point here is, in the talk, teachers being the architects of the future, go beyond the textbooks and teach them wonderful, inspirational, and motivational values, virtues, and wisdoms of life. First point was, teachers have amazing power. They can transform coal and graphite into diamond. Second, teachers must go beyond textbooks to give inspirational and motivational messages and stories to children. Third thing, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, our Guru, used to say, once he was asked to write the essence of education, he wrote wonderfully in Gujarati. He wrote, લક્ષણ વગરનું શિક્ષણ ભક્ષણ કરે, લક્ષણ વાળું શિક્ષણ રક્ષણ કરે. Out of all his nectar experience, Pramukh Swami Maharaj traveled to more than 18,000 villages and towns in 60 countries of the world to enhance the life of people, to teach them moral and spiritual values, to make them better human beings. He personally met more than 40 million people in his lifetime. Sorry, 4 million people in his lifetime. And he initiated more than 1,100 saints like us. Most of you have been to Akshardham at Gandhinagar and Delhi, all those institutes set up by him. He set up more than 1,300 social service institutes, hospitals, hostels, schools, and colleges in a span of 45 years. His nectar experience, લક્ષણ વગરનું શિક્ષણ ભક્ષણ કરે, લક્ષણ વાળું શિક્ષણ રક્ષણ કરે. That means value-based education will protect you and the society. Valueless education will destroy you and your society. See, these bombs and missiles are not made by illiterate people. They are made by some of the finest scientists from some of the finest universities in the world. These weapons of mass destruction are not made by illiterate people. They are made by postgraduates, PhDs, and scientists from some of the best universities in the world. That means they had education, but they did not have value-based education. They were not taught to value human life. They were not guided to guide the society to a happier place. So 18 hours a day. Now the statement that I'm putting forward will alarm you all teachers, will open your eyes, and you would say, my goodness, is it? And that statement is, more than 30,000 scientists, today when I'm talking to you on 24th of July, 2021, more than about like 30,000 scientists all over the world are all working 14 to 16 hours a day in their laboratories to make weapons. Imagine what is going to happen to us humans. 30,000 scientists are doing R&D, research and development, in different labs all over the world. And what are they making? What R&D they are doing? New weapons of mass destruction. How well and how quickly they can kill humans. I want to ask those 30,000 scientists one question. Were you educated in such good universities to make this? Is my question right? I want to ask these 30,000 scientists, were you educated by some of these best universities in the world to make weapons? You as a scientist must do R&D to create something that could bring wellness and happiness to human life, isn't it? Instead, you are making weapons. And that includes biolabs as well, from where viruses are made. That includes biolabs as well, from where viruses are made. Human engineered viruses. And they can create havoc. They can have various variants. You would be surprised to know that World Health Organization has said that more than 25 huge biolabs in different countries of the world have human engineered viruses, which the countries might probably use or will use in times of bio war. What are we doing? This is called valueless education. Teachers' responsibility is value-based education. Teach your children to love human beings. Teach your children to love animals and birds, all the creation upon this earth. Teach your children, tell them that the smallest existence, even a small ant, has the right to live upon this earth safely. And it is our humble duty as human beings, the most superior existence upon this earth, to protect all the species. Because that creates the environment, that balances the whole ecosystem. The smallest virus and the smallest germ and the smallest bacteria existing is helping humans in some way in balancing the whole ecosystem. Am I right or wrong? You know how many ants are there upon this earth? जिसको हम चीटी बोलते हैं. गुजराती में આપણે એને કીડી કહીએ. हिंदी में चीटी बोलते हैं, एंट इंग्लिश में बोलते हैं. कितनी ants है पता है पृथ्वी पे? If all the ants are brought together, different types of ants upon this earth, their total weight is more than the total weight of all the human beings upon this earth. They become a part of the soil manure of the earth. And they are responsible for the wonderful grains that we eat. पूरी ecosystem है. If you puncture it somewhere, and you know, only human beings are puncturing the ecosystem. No animals and birds are puncturing the ecosystem. We feel that I am so educated, I am so intelligent. So we are puncturing the ecosystem. It is human beings who are spoiling the environment. This global warming and everything is because of humans, not because of animals and birds. They so very happily live in the nature as God has commanded them. What I mean to say by all these things is that teach your children value-based education. And that value-based education is love and respect all living entities upon this earth, not just humans, but animals and birds as well. When you don't have the right, when you don't have the power to give life to somebody, you don't have the right to take away life of somebody. Do we humans have the power to give life to somebody? No. Then we don't have the right to kill anybody, not even animals and birds. Teach your children this. The value of compassion, the value of sympathy, the value of love, the value of care, the value of share. The smallest ant has a percentage in maintaining this environment and the ecosystem. Do you believe what I'm talking? I'm talking something very different and deep. The smallest ant in your house is also playing a small role in maintaining this eco balance upon this earth. And that is why we breathe and we live. When you believe this, you will have compassion and sympathy in caring and sharing for all the living existence upon this earth. This is value-based education. Teach your children what Harvard University has written on its emblem. When I read it, I stood in front of it 5-7 minutes just looking at it. The world famous Harvard University's emblem logo writes, enter to learn and leave to serve. This is the motto of Harvard University. I repeat, enter to learn. That is when students are told that you are entering Harvard University to learn. Enter to learn and leave to serve. Not just make money, to serve. Money is going to be a byproduct of your learning process, of your learnings, academic learnings put into practice. Don't make it a top priority of life. Teach your children this. that wherever you are, after your academics is over, whatever you do in life, engage yourself in some selfless service activity that will help you physically, mentally, emotionally in times of stress. But then it will create a small, positive, vibrant energy at a small place because of your selfless service. Imagine if each and every human being upon this earth, if it decides to do a small, selfless help activity, even for 2 minutes a day, the whole world is heaven, isn't it? If you can't do it every day, once a week, a small, selfless help activity once a week can make this earth a heaven. But everybody wants to become a millionaire and a billionaire overnight. Everybody wants to become a millionaire and a billionaire by hook or crook. Everybody wants to become a millionaire and a billionaire come what may. And they can go to any extent in spoiling the minds of people. The most current news is somebody from the industry got arrested 2 days back because he was doing certain things that the mobile app would not just disturb the minds of people, not just negate the minds of people, but totally make the minds of people dustbin and trash. Since 2 days, that guy is in police custody. What I mean to say is that if you can't help, just sit back, but don't damage and destroy the ecosystem. So my third point is this: value-based education. Many years back, many vice chancellors and principals from all over the country, they had come together for a conference in Pune. 3 days brainstorming sessions. The principal point of discussion was that how we can well infuse value-based education in the society. 3 days of brainstorming sessions, and they came to a conclusion that we need to teach religion and spirituality in mainstream education to bring out better human beings from our schools and colleges. You would be surprised to know that more than 300 vice chancellors and principals from all over the country had signed this paper. This was 25 years back, but since 25 years, we have not seen the inclusion of it. Now, perhaps the NEP, the new education policy, will bring in many things. At least it will teach us the great Indian history, not just the history of the invaders, but the great Indian history, which every country teaches. Every country teaches. You would be surprised to know that there is a strict discipline in UK, that is in England, that until a student passes 12th standard, he should be taught only and only British history. Thereafter, after 12th standard, if he picks up history as a subject in his undergraduation, he is mature enough, then he can go for any European or Asian histories, whatever. But until standard 12th, while he is maturing, he should be taught only British history. That is a bill passed in the UK cabinet, that is the cabinet of England, government, because they want their citizens to love their country. They want their citizens to be perfect Britisher. And that is why they teach only British history till standard 12. Many countries follow this norms. We in India, we need to follow this norm. Till standard 12th, only Indian history. We had great kings and great emperors. जिसको हम सोने की चिड़िया बोलते थे, वो भारत. We have given so many things to the world. Without India giving zero, Aryabhatta gave zero in mathematics. Without India gifting zero, where would the world have been today? No significant mathematical or scientific progress would have been done without zero. Many such things, many such things. What I mean to say is that value-based education, teach your children values and the great Indian tradition and culture that we have inherited. That is my third point. My fourth point is that teach your children faith in God. Tell your children that God just don't exist. He's all doer. Now this as a saint, not just as a saint that I'm talking to you. I'm also a man of science. I've done my engineering way back, 30 years back. So I'm a man of science. I'm a man of spirituality. I know the combination of both. So from that combination, I'm talking to you today, the teachers. Teach your children faith in God. I share you a wonderful, insightful, knowledgeable, well acceptable to the society happening in the life of the former Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI's founder director, Sir Edgar Hoover. Edgar Hoover was for many years the founder director of FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the organization of the United States. In his farewell speech, in the presence of a very distinguished audience, he said that for 40 years of my life, I have dealt with crime, investigating crime. Out of those 40 years, the last 15 years of my life, I've investigated child and teenage crime. Why children and teenagers are performing or they're committing crimes. You know, every second month you would read in the newspapers that a child or a teenager, he picked up his father's gun and went to school and had a shootout at school. 2, 5, 10 students he killed, a couple of teachers he killed. So sometimes I jokingly say that no teacher in the United States turns around and writes anything on the blackboard. You know why? Because he or she has a fear of a bullet from behind. I jokingly say that no teacher turns around and writes anything on the blackboard in the United States because she has a fear or he has a fear that a bullet would come from the students from the classroom and he or she might get killed. It's just a joke because things have happened of this, and every second, third month, things are happening. You'll be surprised to know that this year, 2021, the Americans have labeled themselves. They have labeled their year in the United States as the year of shootings. Every second day at the moment, since last 6 months, every second day there is a mass shooting in the United States. At marketplace, at shop, at malls. So Edgar Hoover said that 15 years of my life, I have dealt with child and teenage crime. Why are they committing crimes? What is the reason for their violent thoughts and the expression of those thoughts into actions? He designed rehabilitation programs for these children. He designed rehabilitation centers for these children. He stayed for a few days, a couple of weeks in the home with the family of these children. But why are they committing crimes? He says in farewell speech that I've come to a conclusion. How many of you want a crime-free world? He asked this question to the audience. I'm asking this question to all you Shishuvan family members today. How many of you want a crime-free world? Just raise your hands. How many of you want a crime-free world? We all want a crime-free world. Edgar Hoover, the director of FBI, he says, out of my 40 years of experience dealing with the crime, I've come to a conclusion that if you want a crime-free world, now listen properly what he said. I'm quoting him not just word to word, but letter to letter. He says, A child who has been taught to obey the laws of God will find very little difficulty in obeying the laws of man. So teach your children faith in God. This is FBI Director Edgar Hoover telling to a society after his 40 years of experience of dealing with crime. Again, I repeat his quote. A child who has been taught to obey the laws of God will find very little difficulty in obeying the laws of man. So teach your children faith in God. That is why we have enough doctors, engineers in the society. I use the word enough because when I say this, more than 15% of all the doctors, 15% of all the engineers, 15% of all the chartered accountants are jobless at the moment. So we have enough of them. It's not that we don't produce more. Definitely when the elder generation is retired, we need new reinforcements. But we want good doctors, we want good engineers, we want good chartered accountants, we need good company secretaries, we need good scientists. A scientist, he must be of the caliber of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So when I talk to teachers, I tell them, you might teach thousands of students in your lifetime, in your career as a teacher. Great, I appreciate. But produce one Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam for the country. That will be a greater service of yours. So I tell teachers, until you produce one Kalam for India, until you produce one Vikram Sarabhai for India, you don't have the right to retire. Teachers, they don't have the right to retire until they produce one such great personality who becomes a source of inspiration, who by his IQ, EQ, and SQ take the whole country a leap forward. Until you have not produced one such from amongst your students, you are not complete as a teacher. You are incomplete as a teacher, and you don't have the right to retire unless you produce one such. I think you will agree with my thought, isn't it? So, teach your children faith in God. So these are the 4 things that I exemplified today. First is, teachers have amazing power to create great citizens, great human beings, from coal and graphite to diamonds, that who can serve the society and the nation. Second, teachers must always tell inspiring stories to their children. Your period is not 45 minutes, it is 40 plus 5 minutes. Third, value-based education. Your student should not be producing or designing new weapons in the laboratory, but he must be designing a product that can better the welfare, better the wellness, better the happiness of human beings and the existence upon this earth. So value-based education, not valueless education. And fourth, teach your children immense faith in God so that he can handle his personal life, his family life, his social life, his professional life in the times of crisis. Because no life is without crisis. God did not promise us a goody-goody life of 60, 70, 80 years upon this earth. He said there will be challenges in everybody's life. But if you are value-based, and if you are having unflinching faith in me, I will increase your strength. I will not reduce your problems. See, this is the way God works. God does not decrease our problems or dilute our problems. The problems will stay according to our karma. But your value-based life, value-based workings, value-based associations with people, value-based giving to the society, your value-based faith in God, all these 5 will come together to strengthen you. God has taken the responsibility of increasing your strength. When you pray, He will increase your strength. He will not reduce the intensity of your problem. He will give you the strength, and by that strength, you will reduce the intensity of your problem, or you will solve your problem. That is the way in which God works. So don't pray to God that, oh God, please take away my problems. Pray to God that let the problems remain, but give me strength to face those problems, to handle those problems, and come out with a wonderful solution that is acceptable to one and all. So this is faith in that. So these four things, and teachers, they become architects of the future. My all prayers for all the teaching, non-teaching staff of Shishuvan, especially to the most inspiring figure that you have at the Shishuvan family, and my good friend, Shri Devendra Baisha, that is constant, Devendra Bhai's constant engagement with the Institute, his constant guide to the Institute, his constant inspiration to the Institute, and his constant well-being wish for more expansion, more growth, and more betterment of the Institute to serve the society and the children, that is students, well there. All my prayers for all of you. May Bhagwan Swaminarayan, Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Bhagwan Sri Ram, and my Guru Hari Pramukh Swami Maharaj and Pragat Guru Hari Mahan Swami Maharaj bless you all. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. And again, my all prayers for all of you.
Good morning, Swamiji. We have a few questions from the audience. The first question is why inspirational messages at the end and not at the beginning of the session?
Yeah, inspirational messages at the end, because the students, after hearing you for 40, 45 minutes, if you start with an inspirational message, it will get bogged down under the 40-minute lecture of yours. They will remember the last thing said. They will not remember the first thing said. You all teachers have that experience. So after you exit from the class, the last thing what you said, they will discuss that, not the first thing, because they've already forgotten it. So I always insist on the inspirational stories told at the end of the session, at the end of your period. Thank you.
Swamiji, the next question is what are your views on and opinion on online teaching, which is currently going on due to the pandemic?
Well, it is the last thing that we all want to abide by, and it is the last thing we all want to do, because our hands are cut. That is, the situation of the pandemic is such that we cannot have offline education at the moment, because that would increase the possibility of a spike, that is more of virus infections. So the last thing that the teachers want to do is online education, because teachers, they want to meet their students one on one, because they have care, they have share, and the teachers in their heart, they have love for their students. On the other hand, those little students, they also want to go to school. It's an amazing feeling, to get 7 o'clock, get ready in the morning with your breakfast and having your school bag on your shoulder and running to the school bus and coming to school. They want that feeling. And when the students also, they see each other in the classroom, they are inspired that, oh, we are all together. We are one. We are together in classroom. And that wonderful feeling when the teacher walks inside the classroom and all those 30, 40 children just standing up, good morning, teacher. And that is a great sound. And that is a connection between the teacher and the students. So all that wonderful feeling and association goes away on online education. But at the moment when we have no other scope, at least we can carry forward things, at least we can make things happen, at least we can keep students engaged by online education. So online education is fine, but it doesn't match when it comes to, or it doesn't stand when it comes to real offline education. Thank you.
I think all the teachers who are present here will completely agree to what you're saying, that we will not be able to match up with the way when we have students physically with us and when we are doing online teaching. The
Of
next
course.
question that we have is uh, Today, education sector is under the helm of politicians, businessmen, and elites. It is considered more as a service industry meant to keep customers happy. What is your opinion on this?
No, I have some other opinion because I have seen, I have met, and I have known many good industrialists and businessmen who are coming forward to set up wonderful education institutes like the one Devendra Bhai and his family has set up this Shishuvan. So Devendra Bhai never sees this as a commercial venture. He never sees this as an industry, the word that you used. So if there are a few percentage of that, God bless them. But the majority of the businessmen, industrialists, and these people who have come forward to set up education institutes, because you would be surprised to know, and you know it actually, you all, that thousands and thousands of education institutes have been set up in deep rural areas by such businessmen and elite people and industrialists to actually impart education and knowledge to rural children, deep rural areas. How can they see that unit, that setup of theirs as an industry or a commercial venture? Never. Again, I repeat, as you said, there can be a small percentage of people who see this as a commercial venture, as an industry, or I expect some gains from it. But a majority of them are doing a good service to the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. The next question is, as a patriotic person, if you work to defend your country by producing weapons, how are you to balance your act being responsible with destroying human life?
A wonderful question posed by you, and I appreciate the depth of thinking that goes behind this question. As a patriot, when you are designing weapons for your country, it is your wonderful service to the country. But when some country decides to make it an industry, when a country decides to sell those weapons to other less rich or poorer countries or less developed countries and make big money out of it, that is when when it becomes a commercial setup, or when those arms are sold to terrorists. How come, it's a question to everybody, how come such huge amounts of huge cache of arms lands in the hands of terrorists, extremists? That means somebody is playing a spoil sport somewhere. Some countries are misbehaving just because they have a wonderful R&D, just because they have enough money to invest in making weapons. So there should be designing and production to protect the country. There should not be designing and production to sell those arms to terrorists and extremists to kill humans, or not to sell to other less developed countries and create political disturbances in those countries so that they purchase the arms and so that they go at war with each other. This defense industry, behind that, there is a huge administrative activity also to create conflict between two nations or two groups in a nation so that the other countries can sell their arms, to create a demand first by, by injecting a conflict and then supply of arms. So again, in one line, the answer to your question is getting educated and designing and producing an arm to defend the country is patriotism. But when the decision is taken to sell those, irrespective of people to whom they are selling, without knowing the background and the intentions of the people that you are selling to, that they may kill innocent humans, whatever, just because I want money, I will sell the arms. That is not patriotism, that is killing. Thank you.
Completely agree to that, Swamiji.
You would be surprised to know, just as, sorry, but just an extension to it.
Yes.
You would be surprised to know that the annual defense budget of the world is $1,500 billion. $1,500 billion, not million. What that amounts to? $1 billion is 7,500 crore rupees. $1 billion is roughly around about 7,500 crore rupees. What is $1,500 billion? If the top 25 countries of the world, top 25 developed countries, if they decide to stop the new R&D of weapons, if they decide to stop new sale of weapons and just restrict it to the defense of their country, in just 1 year, the money saved from that. Now listen very carefully. This is a very big answer to your question. The money saved from it, just 50%, that is $750 billion. If that is pumped into education, I tell you that education for all the less privileged children all over the world would be free in just 1 year. If the defense budget of the world is cut to just 50%. If these 25 countries decide that for the next 10 years, we want to use our defense budget 50% for the welfare of humans, for another 2 years, next 2 years, total healthcare system of the world would be free. Another 2-3 years, and you will get free housing for all those people who don't have their own house. Education can be free, healthcare can be free, housing can be free. You can make this whole earth heaven if you just cut this $1,500 billion annual defense budget of the world by 50% for the next 10 years. So we have enough resources to be happy. It is we don't want to become happy. That is the problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Swamiji, on that question. We don't see that kind of students right now. So if you see, the culture has been changing, and now we have students, they do not respect us at times. At such time, how does a teacher continue to work with that level of motivation?
Well, if a patient goes to a doctor and tells the doctor your medicine doesn't work, what does the doctor do? Double the dose. In the same way, if a student is not that obedient or not respecting the teacher or not following the discipline in the classroom, double the dose of your care, double the dose of your love, double the dose of your share, double the dose of your compassion and sympathy for that student. Teachers have to give, and give. Again, I repeat, teachers have to give, and give, because they are the mothers and fathers of the next generation of the country. And by intense and selfless love and care, if a lion can be tamed to perform in the circus, can't you tame an disobedient boy in your classroom? I think all of you will agree with me. If by skills, if by love, if by intelligence, a human being can tame a ferocious animal, a wild animal, like a tiger and lion, to perform like an obedient cat in the circus, we have all seen. Can't you as teachers use your intelligence, your skill, your heart, your care, your love to transform a disobedient student into a disciplined, obedient student? It is that you teachers have not utilized your full potential because you have not realized your full potential. My today's talk was to make you realize your full potential, that you have power, you have amazing power as teachers. In short, if a lion can be tamed, a student can. Thank you.
We know that we are in 21st century where technology is playing a huge role. Children being exposed to various social media platforms, it is challenging to channelize their thoughts. How do we go ahead with this?
Well, teach them discrimination. My one word answer to your question is teach them the right discipline and discrimination. When Pramukh Swami Maharaj, our Guru, was asked कि ये 21वीं सदी में ये टेक्नोलॉजी है वो ब्लेसिंग्स है, मतलब आशीर्वाद रूप है, या श्राप है, मतलब कर्स है फॉर द कमिंग अप जनरेशन? दैट इज बेसिकली योर क्वेश्चन। प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने कहा कि विवेक पूर्ण उपयोग करे तो आशीर्वाद है, अगर विवेक चूक गए तो अभिशाप, मतलब श्राप है। टीच योर चिल्ड्रन दैट सी iPad is good for you, but you need to have discipline and discrimination, which sites to open and which sites not to open. Teach your children that a mobile phone is good for you to connect with people, to help people in times of need, but the overuse of it can dampen your intelligence, can blunt your sharpness of memory. Teach your children that a personal computer, a laptop, is a wonderful gadget to help you in your work. But at the same time, tell them that if you don't use it judiciously, then it has the power to spoil your life. If you go for online gaming, if you go for online chatting with unknown people, or people disguised in other form or other names, we know what online and cyber crimes are. So gadgets are a must. Gadgets are to be placed in the hands of the next generation at the right time, not at an early age, but we must teach them the use of it and the discipline of it. Then these gadgets can wonderfully work in their life. See, just today, because of the gadget, we are all connected. Otherwise, we all are sitting at our own places. So teach your children judicious and disciplined use of gadgets. That is again the role of teacher. See, I'm putting everything on your shoulders, okay? Teacher's shoulders. Thank you.
Swamiji, the next question is what kind of motivation you can give to pre-primary children? Because they're too small to understand a lot of things.
Yeah. You can inspire them by using colors, figures, and drawings. I give you an example. Pre-primary students are very small. They don't have that uh, understanding level, but they have a wonderful grasping level. They have a wonderful pickup level because their entire GB is free. The space. We have GB in our mobile phones and our laptops, but their entire GB is free. So their grasping power is fine. Their pickup power is fine. For example, you can make a sketch drawing where you can see a small, you can draw a small child like him that he can relate that, yeah, he is of my age, and show him throwing trash on the floor and the other small child throwing that trash in a dustbin. By figures, then you can slowly teach them this is a bad habit and this is a good habit. Maybe they will not understand the word habit, as you said, pre-primary teacher, children, pre-primary children, they will not understand the word habit, but that mind will at least accept, even subconsciously, that you cannot throw trash on floor or any place except the dustbin. You need to put it inside the dustbin. That early day sanskars, early age value teaching, you can give them by figures, by sketches, by paintings, by colors, by some simple stories. You can do it. There are wonderful courses in it, well designed. Thank you.
Swamiji, my next question is people
So
don't
we,
have.
we take this last question. We
Yes,
take
yes,
this
yes,
last
yes.
question.
People don't have contentment. It is a greed in which makes us to want everything. How to satisfy own wants? The question of making the next generation come later on. How to seek that containment in life.
See, every person needs to design a satisfactory bar in his life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, post position wise. See, not every businessman can become Mukesh Ambani. Not every entrepreneur can become Elon Musk. and come out with Tesla or SpaceX. Accept that. Tell them two things, that if you decide you can become Elon Musk, that is what you teach your children. At the same time, teach them that after using your full potential and capacity at a certain age of in your life, you must decide your satisfaction bar. Otherwise, you will keep around running till the last breath of your life and you will find yourself nowhere. This is basically more a question, a more of an inner conflict for the adults rather than the children, for you teachers of your age or people of our age, of all of us, that we need to put a satisfaction bar somewhere. Because till the age of 45, 50, 55, in professional careers, you try to scale the heights that you can. But when it comes to this age and when it comes to um, this level, you must decide the finish line of your life. Till this life, this is the line, this is the bar, and you must be content, you must be satisfied. Only then you live a good, satisfactory human life. Otherwise, till the last breath of your life, you will not be satisfied with your gains, with your achievements. Someday you must tell yourself, yes, I'm satisfied. You can put a hand on your chest and tell yourself, yes, I lived my life. That comes at an adult age after you cross 50. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. On behalf of Shri Hirji Bhojraj and son CVO Jain Chhatrale, Shishuvan School, my friends and my teachers, I would sincerely like to thank you, Swamiji, for coming over, interacting with us, and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. We have indeed learned a lot from your session, and we truly feel empowered. Thank you once again, Swamiji, for enlightening us on this very special occasion of Guru Purnima. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All prayers for all of you. Fine. So thank you very much, and I take your leave. All prayers for
Thank
all
you
of
so
you.
much, Swamiji.
Take care. Take care. Have a nice weekend ahead.